Ladies and gentlemen, Steve Harvey. Let me tell you something real tonight. Pain is coming whether you invite it or not. Disappointment, betrayal, failure, loss, that stuff don't ask for permission. But what separates winners from quitters is not the pain itself, it's what you do with it. See, some people sit in their pain, complain about their pain, blame everybody else for their pain. And then there are those who stand up and say, if this hurt me, it's going to build me. Your pain is not here to destroy you. It's here to introduce you to a stronger version of yourself. I know it don't feel good when you're in it. I know it keeps you up at night. I know it makes you question God, question life, question your own ability. But listen to me, nothing you've been through is wasted unless you quit. Pain is a teacher. It shows you who's real, who's fake, and who you really are when things fall apart. Some of you are walking around embarrassed about your past, ashamed of the mistakes you made, the doors that closed, the people who walked away. But I need you to hear this clearly. Your testimony is not in your comfort. It's in your survival. The fact that you're still standing means you were built for more. That pain didn't break you. It sharpened you. See, pain gives you focus. When you've been broke, when you've been betrayed, you trust different. When you failed, you work different. Pain puts fire in your belly that motivation alone can't give you. It teaches disciplines. It teaches gratitude. And most importantly, it teaches you not to waste time on things that don't matter. Stop asking, why me? And start asking, what is this trying to make me? Because God never allows pain without a purpose. Every tear you cried was watering a future you haven't seen yet. Every setback was setting you up, but you can't use your pain if you keep running from it. Face it, own it, learn from it, then rise above it. Let me leave you with this. The same pain that could have turned you bitter can turn you better. The same struggle that almost broke, you can become the fuel that drives you. Don't waste your pain telling sad stories. Use it to build something powerful. Use it to become unstoppable. Use it to help somebody else who's still hurting. Pain is not punishment, it's preparation. Most people don't see it that way when it first shows up. When pain hits your life, it feels unfair, heavy, and personal. It makes you ask questions like, why me? And what did I do to deserve this? But the truth is, pain doesn't come to ruin you. It comes to ready you. Every difficult moment you face is training you for something bigger than where you are right now. If life handed out rewards without resistance, you wouldn't have the strength to carry what you're praying for. Pain forces growth. When everything is comfortable, you stay the same. You don't push harder. You don't think deeper, and you don't change your habits. But pain will shake you awake. It makes you look at yourself honestly. It exposes weaknesses you didn't know you had and strengths you didn't know existed. The nights you cried, the moments you almost gave up, the days you felt alone, all of that was conditioning your mind and spirit. You weren't being punished, you were being prepared. Think about how pressure works. Diamonds don't form in comfort. They form under extreme pressure. Muscles don't grow without strain, and character doesn't develop without challenge. Pain stretches you beyond who you used to be. It teaches patience when you want quick results. It teaches humility when pride would have destroyed you. It teaches resilience when quitting feels easier. The version of you that Sir Pain is wiser, tougher, and more focused than the version that entered it. Pain also sharpens your vision. When you've been hurt, you stop wasting time on nonsense. You learn what really matters. You learn who really cares. You learn that your energy is valuable and your time is limited. Pain has a way of clearing distractions out of your life. It pushes you to prioritize your goals, your purpose, and your peace. What once seemed important suddenly feels small, and what truly matters becomes crystal clear. A lot of people try to escape pain instead of learning from it. They numb it, ignore it, or blame others for it. But pain doesn't disappear when you avoid it. It follows you. When you face it head on, when you accept it as part of your journey, it starts working for you instead of against you. Pain becomes motivation. It becomes the reason you wake up earlier, work harder, and refuse to settle. Pain prepares you for leadership too. You can't guide people through storms you've never walked through yourself. The struggles you endure give you empathy, depth, and understanding. They allow you to connect others on a real level. People don't relate to perfection, they relate to perseverance. When you've been through pain and kept going, your words carry weight, your presence carries strength. Your story becomes proof that survival is possible. The biggest mistake you can make is letting pain turn you bitter instead of better. Bitterness traps you in the past, but preparation pushes you into the future. Pain is temporary, but the lessons last forever. If you let it shape you instead of break you, you'll realize it was necessary. The obstacles weren't there to stop you. They were there to build you. Every setback was training. Every hard moment was a lesson. Every hard moment was preparing you for the life you said you wanted. Every struggle carries a lesson meant to strengthen you, even when it feels like it's tearing you apart. When hardship enters your life, it rarely announces what it's there to teach. All you feel is the weight of it. The frustration, the confusion, the exhaustion. But struggle is never random. It shows up with a purpose, and that purpose is growth. Life doesn't test you to see you fail. It tests you to reveal what you're made of. Struggle forces you to slow down and pay attention. When things go wrong, you start asking deeper questions about your choices, your habits, and your direction. You begin to see where you've been careless, where you've been patient, and where you've been avoiding responsibility. These moments of discomfort become mirrors. They reflect back the truth about who you are and who you need to become. Without struggle, most of us would never look that closely at ourselves. There are lessons you can only learn the hard way. Failure teaches discipline. Loss teaches gratitude. Rejection teaches self-worth. Betrayal teaches discernment. Painful seasons carve wisdom into your character in ways success never could. When everything is going right, you celebrate. When things fall apart, you evolve. Struggle humbles you and reminds you that growth is a process, not a moment. Struggle also builds mental toughness. When life keeps hitting you, you either collapse or adapt. Each challenge you survive increases your capacity to handle the next one. What once felt unbearable slowly becomes manageable. You realize you're stronger than your emotions, stronger than your fears, stronger than the voice in your head telling you to quit. That strength doesn't come from comfort. It comes from enduring what you thought you couldn't. Through struggle, you learn that not everything happens on your timeline. Waiting teaches endurance. Delays teach trust. Setbacks teach persistence. Struggle shows you that real success is earned slowly through consistency and effort, not overnight miracles. It trains you to keep going even when progress is invisible. Struggle also refines your values. It strips away superficial goals and replaces them with meaningful ones. You stop chasing approval and start chasing purpose. You stop trying to impress people and start trying to improve yourself. The opinions that once controlled you lose their power, and your inner voice becomes stronger. Struggle teaches you to stand alone if necessary, because you learn that your worth isn't dependent on external validation. One of the most powerful lessons struggle teaches is empathy. When you've been through hard times, you see others differently. You become more patient, more understanding, and less judgmental. You know that everyone is fighting something you can't see. Your pain gives you the ability to connect, to inspire, and to lift others up. That's why your struggle is never just about you. It equips you to make an impact beyond yourself. If you run from struggle, you miss the lesson. If you blame others, you delay the growth. But when you accept struggle as part of your journey, it becomes a teacher instead of an enemy. You stop asking why life is so hard and start asking what life is trying to teach you. That shift in mindset changes everything. Struggle strengthens you from the inside out. It builds character, clarity, resilience, and wisdom. One day you'll back and realize the hardest seasons were shaping you into someone capable of handling far more than you ever imagined. Your story has power because you survived it. A lot of people underestimate that. They think power comes from success, money, titles, or applause. But real power comes from endurance. It comes from getting knocked down, counted out, hurt, disappointed, and still finding the strength to stand back up. Survival is not a small thing. Every day you kept going when quitting felt easier added weight to your story. There were moments in your life when nobody clapped for you. Nobody encouraged you. Nobody even noticed how close you were to giving up, but you showed up anyway. You carried pain in silence. You smiled when you were breaking. You pushed forward with questions and doubts still unanswered. That right there is strength. The fact that you made it through chapters that almost destroyed you is proof that there's something powerful inside you. Your story matters because it's real. It's not perfect, polished, or pretty. It has scars, mistakes, and regrets written all over it. But those scars are evidence of healing, not weakness. They show that you were wounded and didn't stay down. People don't connect to flawless lives. They connect to survival stories. They connect to honesty, struggle, and resilience. When you own your story instead of hiding it, it becomes a source of strength. So many people feel ashamed of where they've been. Ashamed of failures, bad decisions, broken relationships, or missed opportunities. But shame has a way of stealing your voice. When you silence your story, you silence your power. The things you went through were not meant to embarrass you. They were meant to equip you. What almost broke you is now part of what makes you unbreakable. Your survival gave you perspective. You see life differently now. You don't take small wins for granted. You value peace more than drama. You understand pain in others because you felt it yourself. That awareness didn't come from books or advice. It came from experience. And experience is the most powerful teacher there is. When you tell your story, you give hope to people who are still stuck in the middle of theirs. Someone out there is going through what you already survived. They need proof that it's possible to make it through. Not theory. Not motivation quotes. Proof. Your life is that proof. Is survival someone else's reassurance that the storm doesn't last forever? Surviving also builds courage. After everything you've been through, fear doesn't have the same grip it once did. You've already faced loss, disappointment, and pain, and you're still here. That realization gives you boldness. You start taking chances you were once afraid of. You speak up more. You settle for less nonsense. Survival teaches you that you can handle more than you think. Your story carries authority because it was earned. Nobody can take that from you. No one can tell you what pain feels like if they've never lived it. No one can question your strength when you know what it took to get here. You didn't read about resilience, you lived it. You didn't hear about perseverance, you practiced it. That makes your voice powerful. There will always be people who judge you based on one chapter of your life. Let them. They don't know the whole book. They didn't see the nights you prayed, the days you struggled, or the moments you almost lost hope. You don't need everyone to understand your journey. You just need to honor it. Your survival was not accidental. You're still here for a reason. Your story isn't finished, and it's not meant to be hidden. The pain you lived through has already shaped you, and now it's shaping your purpose. Pain builds discipline, focus, and character in ways nothing else can. When life is easy, discipline feels optional. You wake up when you want, work when you feel like it, and quit when things get uncomfortable. But pain doesn't allow laziness. Pain demands structure. It forces you to tighten up your habits, Control your emotions and take responsibility for your actions. When you've been hurt badly enough, you stop playing games with your future. Pain teaches discipline because it shows you the cost of being unprepared. After failure, you plan better. After loss, you protect what matters. After disappointment, you work harder and move smarter. Discipline isn't built in moments of motivation. It's built when you're tired, discouraged, and still decide to show up. Pain trains you to do what needs to be done even when you don't feel like it. Focus is another gift pain gives you. When you're going through something difficult, distractions lose their appeal. You don't have time for meaningless conversations, fake relationships, or empty entertainment. Pain sharpens your attention. It forces you to concentrate on survival, improvement, and progress. You begin to channel your energy toward goals instead of gossip, growth instead of comfort. Pain clears the noise so you can hear your purpose. When life hits hard, you also learn the importance of boundaries. Pain teaches you who deserves access to you and who doesn't. You become more selective with your time, your trust, and your attention. That focus protects your peace. You stop explaining yourself to people who don't understand your journey. You stop chasing validation and start chasing results. Pain helps you stay locked in. Character is built in adversity. Anyone can be kind when things are going well. Anyone can smile when life is rewarding them. But who you are when life is unfair reveals your true character. Pain exposes your values. It shows whether you'll compromise your integrity for comfort or stand firm in your principles. Hard times test honesty, patience, humility, and self-control. Passing those tests shapes a character. Pain also teaches accountability. It removes excuses. When you've been through enough, blaming others feels pointless. You realize that growth begins when you take ownership of your life. Pain makes you ask hard questions about your choices and your effort. It pushes you to stop waiting for rescue and start becoming responsible for your own future. That accountability is a foundation of strong character. Through pain, you learn consistency. You learn that progress comes from small actions done repeatedly, not from dramatic bursts of effort. Pain humbles you to understanding that success is a process. You stop expecting quick wins and start respecting daily discipline. This consistency strengthens your mindset and builds confidence that can't be shaken easily. Pain also strengthens emotional control. It teaches you how to manage frustration, disappointment, and anger without letting them destroy you. You learn when to speak and when to stay silent. You learn how to respond instead of react. Emotional discipline is one of the most valuable skills pain develops because it keeps you steady when everything around you feels unstable. As your discipline improves, your focus sharpens and your character deepens, you start to carry yourself differently. You walk with more confidence, not because life is easy, but because you survive difficulty. You don't panic as quickly. You don't fold under pressure. You trust yourself more because pain already tested you and you're still standing. Pain doesn't just change what you do. It changes who you are. It transforms impulsive people into disciplined ones, distracted people into focused ones, and weak mindsets into strong character. These changes don't happen overnight, but they last a lifetime. Pain becomes the training ground that prepares you for responsibility, leadership, and lasting success. What hurts you can fuel your purpose if you stop seeing pain as an ending and start seeing it as energy. Pain carries power. The same emotion that once drained you can drive you if you learn how to redirect it. Many people let pain make them angry, bitter, or stuck, but the strongest individuals learn how to convert pain into passion. They take what hurt them and use it as the reason they refuse to quit. Pain creates intensity. When you've been disappointed, betrayed, or knocked down, you move with urgency. You stop procrastinating. You stop waiting for the perfect moment. Pain wakes you up. It pushes you to act. That fire you feel inside isn't there to destroy you. It's there to move you forward. Purpose needs that fire. Without it, goals stay ideas and dreams stay fantasies. Your pain points you toward what matters most to you. Often, your purpose is connected to the very thing that caused you the most pain. People who grew up without support become leaders who empower others. Those who experience failure become teachers of resilience. Those who felt ignored create platforms where voices are heard. Pain gives you insight into problems you deeply care about solving. That insight becomes direction. Pain also gives your purpose authenticity. When you speak from experience, people listen differently. Your words carry weight because they come from lived reality, not theory. Anyone can talk about success, but not everyone can talk about struggle and survival. When you use your pain to help others, it transforms from a burden into a blessing. It stops being something that happened to you and becomes something working through you. Using pain as fuel requires intention. You have to decide not to waste it. That means resisting the urge to numb it with distractions or bury it with excuses. It means feeling it, understanding it, and then choosing action over self-pity. Pain doesn't disappear when you ignore it, but it loses its control when you give it purpose. Movement weakens pain. Progress quiets regret. Pain-driven purpose also builds resilience. When your motivation comes from comfort, it fades easily. When it comes from pain, it's rooted deeper. You remember how low you felt. You remember the nights you struggled. That memory becomes a reminder of how far you've come and why you can't afford to go back. Pain keeps you hungry. It keeps you disciplined. It keeps you pushing even when results are slow. There is also healing in using pain productively. When you create something meaningful out of what hurts you, it gives your suffering meaning. You stop asking why it happened and start appreciating what it produced in you. Purpose doesn't erase pain, but it redeems it. It turns wounds into wisdom and scars into strength. Many people wait for pain to fade before they start building their future. That's a mistake. You don't have to be fully healed to be effective. You just have to be willing. Some of the most impactful work is done by people still carrying scars. Their honesty, vulnerability, and persistence inspire others who are also struggling. Your pain makes you relatable. Your action makes you powerful. When you use pain as fuel, excuses lose their power. You no longer need external motivation because your drive is internal. The memory of where you've been pushes you toward where you're going. Pain becomes a reminder, not a restriction. It stops holding you back and starts pushing you forward. Pain didn't enter your life to end your story. It entered to ignite it. When you align your pain with purpose, you transform suffering into strength and struggle into significance. Using pain turns victims into leaders because leadership is born from experience, not comfort. People don't follow perfection, they follow authenticity. They follow those who understand struggle, who have felt pressure, loss, and disappointment and still chose to rise. Pain gives you depth, and depth is what separates leaders from followers. When you've been through something real, your words carry credibility and your actions carry weight. Pain teaches responsibility. A victim waits to be saved. A leader learns to adapt. When pain hits your life, you realize that no one is coming to fix everything for you. That realization can feel scary at first, but it's also empowering. You stop waiting for permission and start taking ownership. Pain forces you to make decisions, to stand up for yourself, and to take control of your direction. That shift from dependence to responsibility is the foundation of leadership. Pain also builds empathy, one of the most important leadership qualities. When you've suffered, you don't dismiss other people's struggles. You listen more. You judge less. You understand that strength doesn't always look loud or confident. Leaders who lack empathy rule with ego. Leaders shaped by pain lead with understanding. They know how to code at belittling and correct without crushing. Leadership requires resilience, and pain is resilience training. Every challenge you survive strengthens your ability to handle pressure. When things go wrong, you don't panic as easily because you've already lived through worse. That calm in chaos is what people look for in a leader. They trust those who remain steady when situations are uncertain. Pain teaches you how to stand firm when everything around you feels unstable. Pain also teaches communication. When you've been misunderstood or unheard, you learn the value of clear and honest expression. You become more intentional with your words. You learn when to speak and when to stay silent. Leaders don't just talk, they connect. Pain sharpens your ability to communicate in a way that resonates with others because you understand what it feels like to be on the receiving end. A victim mentality focuses on what was taken. Leadership focuses on what can be built. Pain gives you the choice to stay stuck in blame or move forward with purpose. Leaders choose purpose. They don't deny what happened, but they refuse to let it define their limits. They use pain as a reference point, not a resting place. That mindset inspires others to stop seeing themselves as powerless. Pain also strengthens integrity. When you've been tested, you know who you are. Hard times reveal values. They show whether you'll take shortcuts or stay committed to your principles. Leaders shaped by pain understand that character matters more than convenience. They've seen the consequences of poor decisions and learned the importance of doing what's right, even when it's hard. People naturally gravitate toward leaders who have earned their wisdom. Pain is part of that earning process. It humbles you. It removes arrogance and replaces it with gratitude. It reminds you that success is fragile and growth is continuous. This humility makes leaders approachable and trustworthy. When you step into leadership through pain, you don't lead from a pedestal, you lead from experience. You don't pretend to have all the answers, but you know how to keep moving forward. You become proof that circumstances don't decide destiny. Your presence alone becomes encouragement to those still fighting their battles. Pain transforms perspective. It turns self-pity into purpose and suffering into service. Leaders who emerge from pain don't just seek success, they seek impact. They understand that their journey was never only about them. It was preparation to help others rise too.